Let's get rid of the timer. Let's get rid of the starting soon. This is kind of the pre-show, I guess. We'll call it the pre-show. We're gonna get Mike in here soon before we get started with the noob show. I think. Interesting. Now I cannot move my window. Well, that's not cool. But I can with that. Ah, that drives me nuts. Drives me bonkers. Drives me bonkers. There we go. So anyone watching, this is about on par with how everything has been going this week. So I need to actually go grab my phone, check in on my buddy Mike. And I'll be right We're back. Oops. What is this? Meetgoogle.com? Does that have to be on a Google Meet now?
Yo.
Hey, Mike, we're live actually.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, I know. I saw it.
so the quick answer is yes, we can. For some reason, it looked like it was telling me we couldn't, but that was a darned lie. Hey, look, it's still got my video down in the corner. Let me fix that. I'm going to turn off my video so we can just see you because you're awesome. And let's get you. Let's see. We should have a mic cam on here. That's not it. That's not it. Let's see. That's because it wants zoom. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Here comes the mic. Maybe. So here's what we'll do. This is going to take a second. This is the pre-show for anyone who's watching. And hopefully nobody is. Okay. Look at this. Whoop. We will just edit your video space here like so. Little behind the scenes action. Put you in the corner. Don't put Mike in the corner. That's what they say, right?
They do say that. Everyone I know says that.
Okay, now I need to up your volume. I think you're 10. Will you say check, mic check, 1, 2, 3?
Check. Mic check. 1, 2, 3.
Mic on the mic check. Yeah, so I think we should have, so according to my little audio recognition thing, we should have parallel audio power. And that's pretty awesome. That's a pretty good place to be. So, Mike.
Yes.
I am I can't even talk right now. This is gonna be fun.
Yes, it is.
My last 2 weeks have been so stinking busy at work that yeah. So after we do this stream, I'm actually going AFK for like the next 4 days.
Nice.
Because I am toast. I am toast. But it's Blender Noob time.
All right. So we're live and we're going.
Well, I guess technically we are. We're not live and going until we actually like do an intro and say something. Until then, this is just chatting, right?
That's true. It's true. It's the pre-chat. It's
So
the pre-show chat.
so this is a little. Hold on, I'm gonna get Twitch up just in case someone's trying to chat with us. So I think this. So I see this happen actually on vlogs and podcasts all the time. On Twitch especially, is you don't always have to feel like you have to be like 100% go
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
until unless let me pause it. See, stuff like that happens. Here we go. And until like so I'll see this happen all the time where they'll get their guests on and they'll kind of do, you know, how's the fam, all that pre-show stuff. And I wouldn't mind doing that to make sure, like, you know, our audio and everything's okay. If anyone hops in and says, hey, I can't hear Mike and that kind of stuff. I think it's better to have that than when it actually happens. But then after that, like, usually, like, the little splash. Oh, I can't see you, though. That's a problem on Twitch. I can't see you. It's not showing you. This is why we do it.
I'm looking at you. I'm looking at your stream, and my screen. I am black. There we go. I'm back now.
Are you back? Oh.
Oh, it's
Oh.
going in and out.
Okay, hold on. I think I can. Okay, try it now.
Yep, I see myself.
So interesting. So if I do not have you visible, wait, nope, you're gone again.
I see myself. I see you're making myself small.
Okay,
making me small.
Okay. Wait, you can see me making you small?
Yeah, now I'm like this thin strip.
Oh my gosh, how did that happen? Okay, that's not good. What? Weird. Let me try to fix you. How did that happen? I scaled you in my... Oh, wow. So I minimized you on my screen, and it totally messed you up in OBS. This is why we do the pre-show stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are going to fix this, my friend. We are going to fix you. And that's not looking good now.
Oh, well, in terms of the resolution, it's...
Yeah, but you're not. You're like, oh, my window froze. Okay, we're going to have to redo this. We're going to have to get you back in. So for anyone watching, the call just dropped and I lost Mike. The Blender Noob Show it's had better starts than this, that's for sure. I'm the only one there. That's awesome. Okay, we're going to try this again. You're back.
Cool.
So I should not scale you. I'm going to leave you large and in charge. Because that's the only way to do it. And then I am not in the Twitch though. So this is about on par for my week, Mike.
Yep.
I've been having technical difficulties. My computer's having issue. So what actually happened there too is like my web browser froze.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, this little I've been using this little Nook desktop computer. It's about this big, and it's a little Intel card, and it's got this graphics card that they stopped supporting. And ever since then, I can no longer run Maya on it. It can't run Premiere. It used to run everything like a champ, and I've been trying to find. I finally found one unofficial driver for the graphics card, and it kind of kept it alive. And ever since then, it's slowly deteriorated. So I don't know. So I need to. At some point, I need to reevaluate my setup here. But
yeah.
Yeah, it's good times, Mike. It's good times. So here's the plan. I really want to do the Noob Show this week because we put it off. And I know you have some exciting stuff to talk about. So why don't we do this? So here's what happened, and this is some behind the scenes for anyone who pays attention to the Blender Noob Show, which I think it's going to really take off. I really do. Hey, Mike, one of the things I want to work on this week too, and maybe you can help me with this. Actually, I can show you something. One of the things I want to do for the Blender Noobs, for our YouTube page, and I came up with a few things today for this, is try to make some like less than a minute short YouTube videos to post on our YouTube channel to start getting it some recognition.
Yeah.
And I found some simple ones. Like today I learned how to like just simple things like 15 seconds on how to drag an image into Blender or how to use the navigation tools or some of the little things we learn.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. This week, I think did I tell you last week the shorts I put up on my Checkpoint channel?
No,
So I started experimenting. Actually, I'm going to find my stuff right here first. And I'm going to show you. I started experimenting with short videos. So YouTube is trying to compete with TikTok right now.
Oh, okay.
And so they've created this little thing that comes up on mobile phones called Shorts. And they haven't officially...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they haven't... Go ahead.
That.
You've seen those, yeah. So they haven't officially released those in the US yet. Right? But you can...
I'm getting mixed up with stories because YouTube like also has stories.
Yeah, so stories are different, right? Stories can be like, hey, I'm going live in a few minutes, or I'm doing this. They're not evergreen content. Whereas the idea with TikTok videos and the YouTube shorts is these are short form, like Vine type evergreen content that people would want to watch forever, not just when someone has something dumb to say, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to try and get this up for you. And I'll show you. So I started messing with some, and I think they could really work for the Blender noobs. And I think I mentioned this before, actually. But I'm going to show you. Oh, God. If my stuff will even work. Okay.
Well, I think that's going to be cool because I have some like really quick modeling tips.
Yes.
That will be really nice. Like we could make it like little short segments. Like here's the thing I'm going to show you, and then show it to you. Yes,
exactly. So that would be awesome. So we could even take them out of these long form videos that we're doing. These are like the 30, 60 minute. But if we would have, if you and I could each come up with like one or two shorts during the week.
Yeah.
But let me show you. So these are my analytics on my YouTube channel since I started doing shorts. So this was before shorts. I had to have about 25 views a day, 37, 20, 44, right? Pretty big time YouTuber, you know, some serious traffic. So then I started playing with shorts and I put up one short. I'm like, okay, it got 1,000 views. Put up a couple more, 2,000 views a day, 18,000, 20. And this was a pretty good day. I had almost 10,000 views just off of these little short videos.
From your like Blender shorts?
No, so this is Checkpoint. This and to be honest, the first ones I put up, I had I had already had these edited videos from my editor from like 15-second Mario speedruns I did, right?
Oh, cool. So like little
and so,
very, very small speedruns.
Yeah, and so I went into Premiere and I put like a yellow bar up top and a yellow bar at the bottom because these have to be in like vertical format.
Oh, okay.
They have to either be perfectly square. So if you film it, you can actually adjust OBS to record you in 1080 by 1080.
Oh, cool.
And you can either upload that straight or edit it in Premiere or edit it in YouTube, even cut it shorter, right? So that it's just they have to be 13 seconds, between 13 seconds and 58 seconds. And then you just have to put the hashtag shorts in the title.
And then it'll make it a short. And
the algorithms will recognize it as short, right? So if you look at, I put up one, it's down here a bit. I put up one that was a modeling one with the Among Us character, and it didn't do as well, but I have a theory on why. But even that one got quite a few views. But like I did this Among Us one as a short, and I sped up the process. It actually doesn't even look that good. But I'll show you, like one of the first ones I did was just like one of these.
Mm-hmm.
So like this one got 1,500 views. But really, it was literally just that image sped up.
Right, someday, somehow. And it'll be amazing.
And yeah, crazy.
That's cool.
But they don't have to be ugly like that. They're actually better. The new ones I've been playing with, and this is how I'll probably do when I do some Blender tip videos, would be more like this format. Let's see, something like this format, a little more, and I think I could actually. So this is a square format, and so this would also be considered a short. Come on, buddy. Where I can use more of the screen, and I'll probably almost have all of Blender in this screen, and then me more down to the bottom out of the way, and I could say something like Blender Noob Show down here.
Yeah.
But the idea is we can do this quick tip that they can see exactly what it is on their phone, and kind of jump off that way. So this was recorded all 100% in OBS. I just put all this. Cool. I just put all this in OBS and adjusted my camera for these shorts. But yeah, it's interesting. So with my other YouTube video, my YouTube channel, with my Checkpoint channel, it took me about a full year to get up to 200 subscribers, and that was having posts be sent out every single day. And so I've gone from 200 to 430 in the last week and a half.
Oh, wow.
So, and those are legit subscribers who liked and subscribed to the content that they saw. So I would love to be thinking about that this week.
Yeah.
As something we can do, and post a couple of those and try them out. Because I think people that are interested into 3D and Blender stuff would love like 15-second like hot tips in Blender.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'll make a list of things and then look up the process, and then maybe just post those to the Blender Noob Show.
Yeah, and other nice things we could do is like I really need to sit down and do it, but we really need like a banner on our YouTube channel and all that stuff. So
yeah, no, I totally.
But anyway, okay, so 1 second here, and let's get going. And I'm sorry to be so scatterbrained today.
No worries.
Let me I think I might have lost your image again. 1 second here. So before we get started, so the plan is, do you want to do the whole format where we talk about what's new in Blender, and then I can show off a little bit of what I learned, and then you can show off what you learned? Does that sound like a plan?
Yeah, that sounds good. Maybe like 10 to 12 minutes max on news, and then. But like it was a pretty big Blender news week. Was it? Yeah, big release.
Oh, then I'm excited to hear all about it. Mike. Okay. So let's get started then. Let's officially do this. Welcome to the Blender Noob vlogcast, I guess. It's video blog? I don't know. What do they call it?
Let's just call it the podcast.
All right.
It's in a short format, but maybe the vlogcast. I kind of like that.
Yeah, a video blogcast. So we'll call it that. My name is Gabriel Olson, also known as the Checkpoint Professor. I am a full-time professor at the University of Utah, where I teach video game design. And on the side, I'm doing all things video game art, design, and Twitch streaming.
Nice. And I am Michael Reese, also known as Melting Face 3D, and I'm the manager of 3D media development over at prestigious Vector Solutions. We are a world-renowned online learning company, and on the side, I'm sculpting and making 3D stupid stuff.
If you're new to the vlogcast, welcome. This is the Blender Noob Show, where we have a couple of Blender noobs learning Blender, talking about Blender, and working on projects each week, some better than others for sure. But we're just excited because Blender is an awesome open source way to get into 3D modeling for absolutely $0, except for the hardware you have to purchase to run the software.
100%.
Okay, so the plan today, we're gonna share some Blender news. And then I am going to share what I have been up to in the last couple of weeks, and then Mike is going to share some of his software, some of his project on updates on his project, And then anybody in the chat, anyone who's watching us on Twitch, feel free to ask questions, show off your stuff. We actually love looking at other Blender artists' projects, and we have done that on our podcast before. And also check us out on YouTube, the Blender Noob Show. We will share links down below, especially if you are watching on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe. Lots of fun stuff coming.
Yes, 100%. Do those things.
So Mike has just informed me that there has been some massive news this week in Blender.
Yeah, so if you've followed Blender at all, you know that this week was the big 2.92 release of Blender, and it's been hitting the airwaves. It's a pretty big release from 2.91. Couple of the biggest feature that was brought into 2.92 was the geometry nodes, which is a really cool. So it's using Blender's fantastic node-based, typically you do textures with the nodes, but they've now introduced geometry nodes, so you're able to have math nodes and geometry nodes and tie those together to create really interesting, scattering and just all sorts of really crazy effects. So the geometry node is the new modifier. Point scatter is where you can take that geometry and do like forest, do a city, uh, do all sorts of really crazy stuff. Then they have math nodes that you can put in there just to make crazy compositions, just all sorts of like abstract art, like as well as just very very efficient scattering effects, which are pretty huge deal.
That's awesome. Have you gotten a chance to play with any of that yet, or?
Not yet. I am definitely going to, and that's one of the things that maybe we'll create a few shorts about. But one of the things that like I'm really bad about as an artist is, for me, I want to try and make sure I learn some of the major features, because with Blender coming out with a major release it feels like a few months. Um, like I feel like I could just be playing around with the new features like all day and all night up until the point where they have a new release and not actually get anything done. So so what I try to do is when I want to use a new feature, I create a project around it so that I can kind of really hone in on it. But with geometry nodes, I'm I'm pretty sure I'm going to be watching some how-to videos and doing some fun stuff with that.
No, that's awesome. So speaking of doing projects around it, yeah, I've been working on a small side project, a small little video game, and
Oh, okay.
I think just talking with you right now, because that's kind of how I'm splitting up my time. I had 2 hours earlier today to work on that, and then only 1 hour to really hop into Blender, which isn't enough time. But that's true to your point. If you can find this time to work a project around it, that's where you can really help you learn faster. And so I think I've just committed myself to making all the artwork and the character work in Blender for that game.
Oh, cool. What are you going to do any sculpting, or is it going to be more just straight edge modeling?
Yeah, I think it's going to be mostly low poly stuff, right? So this is straight
Cool.
for video game stuff. Yeah, maybe it'll get me into that stuff. This new release, I should get back on topic. Is it an LTE edition, or is this just a standard update?
Yeah, it's 2.92.
Okay.
So, yeah, currently the LTE version's on 2.83. Yeah, and I don't think they're going to do a new LTE version for a little while, but yeah.
So are you switching over to this version, or are you sticking to the tried and true?
So I'm currently on 2.91. Yeah, 2.91.0. So I'll probably be switching over once I'm done with this project, just because everything's kind of set up with this. I'm don't plan on needing the geometry nodes or anything, but I am positive I'll be going over to 2.92 in the next few weeks.
Yep, that's awesome. And I'm just realizing, Gary, you can cut this out, but we should during this section just to make things more dynamic. And I promise I'll get this set for next week. Is I'm gonna move it so that when we're in like just chatting mode, that we're moved up on the screen. Maybe even have an overlay during that section. We should really spice this up. We should take it seriously.
No, I agree, and maybe even do like a screen share of like what the news is and
Right.
scroll through Blender or
Yes.
something like that.
So even right now, and Gary, if you're listening, and I know you are because I'm going to send this video to you after, feel free to post some like text up there to make it a little more interesting, talking about the updates we're talking about. He does a really good job when he. I've got to give a shout out to my editor Gary. He does a great job of when you're talking about going through projects and stuff. Of a good job of telling the viewers which keys, hotkeys, and exactly what we're doing. So, shout out to Gary.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
All right, Mike. Any other big news happening? I must admit I've been out of the loop.
Well, so more on Blender. We got. I mean, that's the big feature, but there's tons of sculpting updates. One of the big features of Blender that I'm not sure if you know about, but that's getting a lot more attention is the grease pencil within Blender. So like actually the 2D features within Blender. There's a lot of concept artists who are using Blender for their 2D design because it can actually, have some 3D elements as well. So
Yeah.
it's really, really cool. Definitely, Gabe, I think it'd be cool if you checked out the grease pencil stuff just because you're into drawing. I mean, like,
Yeah.
so am I, but like, it is really, really cool.
So check this out. I'm just hopping on Blender Nation Google. Oh, this is not. I just saw some cool concept art. I'm trying to see. So mixing 2D and 3D grease pencil. I looked up the grease pencil. I'm not seeing it. What do you think I'd Google for that? 3D Blender 3D grease pencil?
Just Blender grease pencil, and you'll find it.
All right.
GREASE.
So let's look up some images here. Grease
like
pencil.
Or some full on animations. It's really, really cool.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. That's awesome. That is on my list now to look up. So just doing 2D art now in Blender, huh?
Yeah. It's changing the whole game. I feel like it is anyways. I mean, like, not the, it's, I think Blender's just changing a lot of stuff. It's just a crazy tool.
Yeah. So what is this? Suzanne meets the new grease pencil object in, so that's interesting. So this looks like it's in 3D space.
It is in 3D space. That's what's so crazy about it.
So is this a 3D object or is it just a 2D flat object in 3D space?
It's a 2D flat object, but you can. It's in 3D space.
Okay. Interesting. So, danged if this wouldn't make a cool short or a quick little tutorial video of how to do some of this.
Yeah.
Very cool. No, that's actually huge. That's great news. That gets me excited.
Yeah, so grease pencil's been around in Blender for a little while, but it's just getting a lot more robust and more feature rich. One of the other really cool modeling tools, it's great for concepting out stuff.
Oh, look at this. Hold on. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. This is kind of cool. So this looks like on this little image here. So they used the grease pencil and then they actually used a light in Blender to quickly create this image.
Light the scene. Yeah.
That is really neat. I can see how a concept artist, think about lighting is one of the most important things when it comes to art, right? And one of the most difficult things and time consuming, like this little fox character, you draw that fox, you can actually put a spotlight on it and it just makes it so much more dynamic. It's just one of those tools that can really speed up your process. That's really cool.
Well, that and lighting something in 2D takes time.
Yeah.
And so once you get the drawing, you can get your volumes much faster.
Very cool. That is awesome. I love it. I'm excited I'm excited to dive up into that. I'm putting that on my Blender notes, actually. Let me go. I actually started taking some notes today.
Perfect.
Very cool.
The other really cool, small but fun feature of Blender 2.92 is what they're dubbing the add primitive tool.
Uh-huh.
And so what that does, like you could just draw like primitives right on other primitives, like right on the normal space. So you can just block out stuff super fast. So send you a link.
Yeah, send me a link and we'll pop it up. This would be interesting for the future if we, I know that the thing is that this is just two buddies getting together, right?
Mostly
to do this. But if we had time to like highlight some of these things we were talking about and have them flash on the screen, that'd be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
But we're doing our best here, people. So what you can do if you want to see things improve on this channel is like and subscribe and get us excited about this. We're already excited, but
yeah, no, I think it's really cool, and I'm really glad that Blender, I mean, these kind of features are ones that are, there's the big features that, you take time to learn and to kind of figure out. And then there are like the quality of life features. You're like, oh man, like this just makes things much faster, less clicks. And that's kind of one of those. There's, some like volume stuff, just to go through some of the smaller things. They've improved the rendering time with because within Blender, when you do cycles, you can actually use your CPU and GPU at the same time, and so they made that more efficient.
yeah.
So that you can do renders much faster. They've done some simulation updates. Oh man, there's just so much.
Oh, dude, I've got an idea for next time too. So if you look at Twitch right now, even if we could do reaction videos to this stuff. So here's the new features 2.292. Kind of exciting.
Yeah.
Geometry meets nodes. This is what you were just talking about.
Yep. Yeah, I've been scrolling through this essentially just to make sure I hit some of the.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sculpt galore. So more sculpting things. This looks so much like ZBrush now.
They're doing a ton of stuff like with ZBrush with like the snake hook, and one of the things that it's interesting. So they call it silhouette anytime, but essentially it's the move topological brush.
Uh-huh.
They've put that into right into Blender. But what's pretty crazy, Gabe, and I'm not sure if you knew this, but ZBrush got a big update this week too.
I've heard about their updates.
Yeah, it's this week. ZBrush 2021.6. That got some really interesting like updates. They're doing a lot more simulation stuff, which is really cool.
Oh wow.
But then they have the big one for this release was geometry from masking. So you can like do like a mask and then that becomes a piece of geometry. That was really cool. It's so hard keeping up with all this stuff. That's why
there is so much to keep up with, and that's the thing. If I just really I have to. That's why I was saying like if I really want to learn Blender, I really need to do my side project in it.
Yeah, that's how I've been learning.
And then this is going to really mess me up, Michael, because like in the fall, I'll be teaching an advanced modeling class in Maya.
Yeah, you won't know what you're doing anymore.
So that is going to be a lot of fun, but that'll be good too. That'll be good for me. But I'm excited. I think Blender is really making a name for itself. I think it's going to be one of the big. It's going to be picking up.
I totally agree. Yeah, so just crazy things going on, and I look forward to one of the things I want to do for my next project. It's gonna be more hard surface stuff, but
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna do it's gonna include a more of an environment. It's gonna include just a couple more tools that I want to learn in Blender. Um, I'll probably actually end up using the geometry nodes for like a almost like a particle effect or something. Yeah, we'll see. One of the things that Blender does that I want to learn too is just some of the stylized rendering they can do.
Oh, that's cool. No, there's a lot of beautiful stuff. Yeah, so here's what I'm
So
going to be doing. I'm going to be doing more of the fundamentals, right? And so
yeah,
I love all that. So really, like you're a lot more technical than I am. You're the technical Blender noob, and I am the fundamentals Blender noob. I just want to know how to use the basics, right? So yeah, I think that going forward, like I'll be making my simple low poly character in Blender.
mhm.
Spoiler alert: I'm making a spoof on an endless runner. That's my plan. So
Cool.
so technology wise, it's not going to be the most difficult mechanic. Essentially, my character will be walking infinitely.
Nice.
And so the title of the game, I've actually started up like an itch.io page and made it official. It's called The Infinite Wanderer.
No, cool. I
And
like
so
that title.
yeah, and so the idea with this game is that I'm gonna create it in Unreal, and officially now I'm gonna be doing all the art assets in Blender. Um, but the tiles will infinitely spawn in front of the character, disappear in the
Hmm.
back. The idea is that you can keep playing this game forever, and
Yeah,
each quarter of the year I'll do an update.
of like a new environment or
New
something.
new environment, new little twist on the mechanic, something that'll change up and keep people playing.
Oh,
And
cool.
so the persistency of it, I think that the point system will only be based on the time that the app is open.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So the longer you play, like there you are on the leaderboard.
Yeah.
So essentially, you could leave your phone on and keep this character walking and doing different things. You could still like when in a game like Temple Run where you get to the end and you have to either fork left or right, and that's
Hmm.
the twitch based response before the monster gets you behind.
Hmm.
Yeah, none of that. You don't die in my game. You'll get to that corner and you'll have to flick left or right to decide which way to go. But basically, you'll be endlessly standing there until you make that decision. So you won't be progressing in the game.
Yeah.
That's the general premise of this game. And so it's like games are all about dying and seeing how far you can go. This one is I'm going to play against the grain.
Yeah.
But the idea too is the way I'm creating it this way is because I teach at the university. I want opportunities that, hey, if one of the students wants a side project to work on, it's like, hey, this quarter, what flavor do you want to add to the game?
Yeah.
If it's an engineer who really wants to work on some system design stuff, hey, you want to create an avatar editing system or like a badge system or some way to put like uh, something in the game. Cool, that sounds cool. We can add that this quarter, see how it works, kind of see how everyone responds to it, and that would be your credit in the game, right?
That'd be really cool because essentially you could have branches of the game. You know what would be really interesting, Gabe, is if like every year you decided to break off like the current branch into open source, and then just you and your school did the what we call like the main branch,
Yeah,
right? But then every year you just kind of give the game out as like, okay, this is open source. Take where it is currently into whatever branch you thought that it should go, and just see where other people take it. But like essentially, the game is perpetual, but also the development is
yeah,
perpetual. So which is kind of very much in alignment with itself. Um, but what's cool too is that like from the first like iteration of the game is version 1, and then
yeah,
after every quarter it's version 1.25, 1.5, 1.75, and then
yeah,
2. And then you can just choose to say like if a student's like, hey, I want to try and build this thing into the game, you could, and it works, then that could make it into the current branch.
yeah. Well, I like that idea. So the idea is like kind of like if it's successful and that new little thing works for that quarter, then we keep it. If not, yeah, I think to that point, we go back and start back from the other branch. But I'm going to pick your brain about that, because that sounds like a good idea going forward. But that whole idea is exactly, this is a perpetual infinite game, and it's infinitely being worked on. And if it feels like it's getting too bloated, we cut back, right? We go back to what it was. And Plus just made a comment, and for a low price of $4.99, you can unlock additional automatic turns for the next hour. Plus, I'm not gonna lie, that's actually an awesome idea, because I'll bet people would pay for that.
Yeah, that is funny.
For $1 it'll just auto. So like, seriously, I thought like maybe that you would run up to a tin can in the middle of your path, and it's like, until you finally tap the screen and your character picks it up and puts it in the garbage, does a little environmental cleanup, you don't progress, right? So it's not these, it's like, your shoes get untied every once in a while, and until you tap the screen to bend over, tie your shoes, and then start walking again.
That's cool.
Puz says, no, it's not. That's an awful idea. Puz, it is a great idea, and it is now part of the game. You cannot undo what has been said.
Yep, it's true. It's been recorded. It's on the internet.
You're awesome. Shout out to Puz. Hey, thanks for being our lone viewer tonight on the Noob the Noob show. But yeah, so we've kind of gotten off topic, but that's kind of my plan with the projects going forward, I think. I think I'm going to be first up to show some of the stuff I've learned this week, which full disclosure, I don't want to let you down. It's about the same as always. But I have learned a new way of doing things. And that is not trying to learn from myself. So as you know, I've been trying to do that little Among Us character in Blender. And here's the deal. You went over a whole bunch of really awesome tutorial stuff like the first time we met, and I took notes on it. But this is like anything else. If you're not consistent, it all goes away.
Yep.
Right? And so because of school and work and my home life and family, like, it's been very difficult. So actually, finally had a little time to have a little date night with the wife yesterday. We were kind of making some notes on priorities and stuff we wanted to do. And that was one of them. One of them was, if I want to work on this little game of mine, I need to consistently block out time for that. Yep. And so we're like, okay, you know what? 2 hours on Monday, 2 hours on Wednesday, 2 hours on Saturday. Those are permanently affixed. Those are the times I work on my game and Blender and all that stuff, and that doesn't change. So going forward, we're going to do that. But anyway, so today was the first day I actually did that, right? So I spent 2 hours working on my little Endless Wanderer and 1 hour working on Blender. And what I discovered was I get into the same old habits as I always do in Blender. And so my big thing today was I had on Twitch is actually very helpful because it keeps me focused on that. And then I have a couple people. The Blender community is pretty awesome, right? Those who love Blender, and they love talking about Blender. So I had two Blender people in my chat, and I was like, you know what? Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna tell you what I want to do to the chat. You tell me how to do it. So here's what my streams are gonna be. My streams are gonna be branded as teach Checkpoint Professor how to use Blender. And I'm going to have the community teach me how to do it. And so they got in, and they were actually in the chat telling me a lot of the stuff that you'd already told me, but it clicked a lot more faster than it had before. So the stuff I'm going to tell you is going to be show you today is going to be a huge letdown for you, Mike. But for me, it's like, okay, this stuff is starting to stick, right? So so like I have my scene here, and I started as I usually do, because I started working on that little Among Us character, and I'm going to move off of it this week because it's not fun for me anymore. So I'm going to move on to like blocking out my own little character and actually getting into Mixamo and getting a walk cycle for my game. That's my plan going forward. So it's a block out character. I'm going to build in Blender, just keep it really simple, and just start moving forward with my game. And that will be my projects going forth. If I need a flower or start working on some block out environmental assets for my little game, they're going to be made in Blender. But so the first thing I wanted to do was bring up, I'm going to show it here on the screen because this is, I guess, my section now, is I wanted to import my image plane because that's the way I work in Maya, right? And so that was my question to my group. And I'll tell you, Blender has some really good tools for importing image planes. I couldn't remember how to do that today because I'm awesome. Mike, you could probably tell me, and you can do that in just a minute. But one of the people in the chat responded, "Why don't you just drag and drop your image into the scene?"
I mean, that's how you do it. It's really good with it. Just bloom.
Yeah. So I don't know if Maya does this, but I don't think it does. But I have this little Among Us character here on my desktop, right? And so that's what I want to use for my image plane. So that's one of the things I learned today. And this would actually make a great short. Hey, everybody, here's how you add an image plane into Blender. Plop. He's in there, right? But when you plop him in, he pops that image in based on your current camera, right? So that it's based on the normal of your camera. So if I move around that, it is not right? And so I was like, crap, now I need to adjust that. If I click on the object, you actually have your transforms over here, and it's behind your head, but you can see that. But then like in my chat, they're like, hey, just toggle end on and off. You've told me that before. But once again, it takes several times for that to stick. And it's like, okay, now here are my transform and rotates, right? So now it's all starting to make sense. I'm starting to be able to move around in Blender. And to help you out too, Mike, to show you when I got started today, I had several bad advice from our last vlog where a lot of people told me just to use the industry standard movements to get started, right? And so I actually did that today, and I'm like, holy cow, this feels just like Maya. This is awesome. But then the Blender experts in the chat who were trying to help me, they said, are you using industry standard? And I said, yes. And they're saying, oh, I can't help you. I don't know what to do now. So this is why I think it's better just to use the Blender defaults, because the people who are going to help you, they use the Blender defaults, right?
Yep.
And so now in the rotation, you have the arrows, so I can adjust. This is kind of nice because I can kind of slide it to see which direction I want it to go. Now I know in X it needs to be 90, right? In Y, it looks like it needs to be 0. And Z, because it's 79 degrees and it's pretty close, that pretty indicates that it needs to be 90. Now I've straightened out my my image plane, and I was pretty excited about that today. So it's like, for Checkpoint Professor, it's small wins. It's small wins. Here's the thing I don't like today, and I was asking my group, is so for my rotate, move, and all this, they say that Blender doesn't really have a move hotkey. They just have the G to grab. And I hate that. I hate this. I hate the free grab thing. I think it's the worst. Like this is what I want. I want this one. I want my little Maya handles, and I want to be able to pull my object around.
Yeah, okay.
So that's what happened today. So I'm going to go over some of the other tools I learned today. Some of the issues I had when I was modeling this little character is in Maya, I never start with spheres. I always start with cubes, right? And so for a character like this, which I was pretty excited, they showed me how to tap edit, tab to go into edit mode. I think I didn't save this. I didn't. So they had me, I changed my spacebar to do the pie menu, all that stuff, which I was pretty excited about. And I'm going to do that again just to remind myself. So if I go into edit preferences under key mapping, I can change the spacebar to go to search instead, and the tab to go to the pie menu. You showed me all that stuff in the beginning, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But now I actually remember it. So that makes me excited. So things are moving and shaking, right? So I can actually press that. Now I have that. So here's what bugged me is I actually took my character and I scaled this up to, like, I like to scale it to what kind of that base shape looks like to me. I'm going to scale it more uniformly. I'm going to try to anyway. Which one? Shouldn't one of these scale it uniformly? There it goes. Right. So if I scale this character up, and I'm going to go to face mode here. And I'll scale this one. Oops. God, this is the Blender. You're killing me, bud. Okay. So I'm actually having to use the keys here because it does not like me. So I'm going to scale this down. So this is more like if I want this non-uniform smooth shape. And look at that. What happened to you? What happened to you, bud? This is not going how I expected it to, Mike. I'm gonna turn on X-ray up here so I can grab everything.
Oh yeah, just do Shift Z to get, yeah. So Shift Z will get you that right there.
Shift Z gets you X-ray?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So that works. Okay, so so how do I uniformly scale? There we go. So I'm gonna grab one of those guys. Okay, so I have this may not be the shape I want, but if you look at this object, right, it is I'm gonna go into face mode. It's obviously it's kind of a tapered rectangle, right?
Yep.
Verging on a pyramid. But if I go into my modifiers, which is the only way I know how to smooth subdivide. So in Maya, it just has really beautiful smooth subdivision tools that I use constantly, because they will smooth out and subdivide simple shapes exactly how I want them to. They keep everything rounded and beautiful.
Yep.
I'm very frustrated with Blender so far. So you're excited about the new technology and all the stuff it affords. I just want to get to some of the basics that I use in Maya to help my workflow work faster. So if I go to the modifiers and I select, say, so I have a couple. I have subdivision surface.
Yep.
And I think that was it. So if I click that on there, you can see my preview and then that shape. That does not match my base shape. This is like a perfect rupee shape. And I hate it. It's stretched and everything. This does not match this shape. It should be tapered larger on the bottom. It should match the surrounding shape. That bothers me a lot. That seems like it's not working as intended.
Let me get back to you just one second. I'm just testing what you're doing right here. So okay. Okay, so actually I'm going to do this right here.
So I'm actually curious now, if I had not done that in the first place, maybe there's a workaround around this. Let me test. While you're testing that out, I'm going to actually test by grabbing that original base shape. So that actually works. So what I could have done instead of that, I just don't understand why it didn't match what I had in the first place. It hurts my feelings, Michael. And I keep calling you Michael instead of Mike. I apologize.
No, it's fine.
Okay, so if I had done it this way, though, right? If I had added the modifier before I had deformed it, if I kept it a perfect cube. So I don't know. Maybe there's history on that cube.
No, there is. It's slightly better if you were to remove the transforms.
So because. Okay, so if I had like essentially deleted history,
because you scale,
essentially deleted history, which I don't know how to do in Blender, right? So I'm going to keep this at its uniform shape then. So let's try and do this, and maybe this will solve some of my problems just working it through with you. So if I do subdivision surface now, you can see that is the shape I actually expected it to be, and this is more what Maya gives you. I think the thing with Maya is it's actually able to subdivision. The difference is, and maybe this is part of the problem, is this is a subdivision proxy as well. Whereas Maya will just subdivide and smooth the actual object without having to apply it.
Well, you're also looking. You're able to see. So within your modifier window, check off the.
Oh, dude, don't do that. Oh, sorry. Check off what?
There's your 1, 2. There's your 4 little like views. The one that's
so
there's your cam. Yeah, there's the camera. There's the wind. Yep, the one you're on right now. That's edit mode. So like if you do that, then it's not gonna. It's going to show you the end result.
Okay. Oh, without that. Okay, so I'm learning stuff. Okay, so here I am pushing spacebar on accident because I'm used to that. So yeah, so I have to remember to actually hold shift. Okay, so let's try this. I'm going to go into scale. So this actually solves some of that problem, right? Because this is actually what I wanted to do. Was make him like, because I like to, oh, crumb. I don't know why that went so high, is block out the shapes like this. The pole is still coming up really high, but maybe that's kind of what I should have done in the first place. However, I don't know. I think this still looks janky. Essentially, well, maybe that is better. So if I would have done that before, because I like to smooth out a sphere and then match that rounded surface. Because when you start with a sphere, you have poles and it's not clean geometry. So, and this allows me to then split it in half and start mirroring it. So that's some of the things I learned today. I'll just go over them really quickly because I've kind of used my allotted time right now.
Yeah, no worries.
But I was pretty excited about it. So a lot of it, Shift N is to duplicate the object. The period.
Shift D is.
Oh, Shift D, sorry. Yeah, Shift D is duplicate the object. N is to look at the transforms. I learned that the period button on the number key is to focus in on an object, which is something I use in Maya all the time, right? So if I want to focus in, hit the period, that's awesome. That's something that I love. And I'm assuming that changes the focus of the camera to whatever you selected, right?
Yeah, one of the cool things too is if you do Alt and middle mouse click, you can kind of refocus quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Like because sometimes you'll be needing to refocus and then do some more zooming.
Oh,
so that helps.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, it refocuses on that object.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. I'm gonna put that in my notes. These are gonna be in our show notes. I'm not kidding either. Then I know where they are if they're actually in the thing. Okay, so shift middle mouse on an object.
That's Alt middle mouse.
Was it Alt? Oh, it was Alt,
yeah,
wasn't it? Thank you.
Shift middle mouse is your pan.
Right. Middle mouse on object, resets focus to that object. No, and so it's interesting. This has been a slow process for me going forward, but honestly, it's all starting to click. And even though it's kind of like we talked about, if you're not consistent with the Blender, it all leaves, but it comes back quickly, right? So it's like when I hopped into Blender today, I didn't want to throw my monitor on the ground. And I think it reminds me a lot of when we learned 3D Studio Max in our undergrad.
Yeah.
The first couple of weeks were brutal, right? But then it becomes second nature. And my hope is that when I go back to teaching advanced 3D modeling for Maya, that it'll be the same as when I sit down to do ZBrush versus anything else. You just sit down and it's like learning a new language, right? So the other things I learned is just like we did the 1, 2, 3 switch to edge, vertice, and faces. There has to be an edit mode. It was really nice being able to realize the object edit mode, very close to Maya. And then make sure you edit your preferences in the key map, set your space bar to search, tab to pie menu. And then the nice thing I learned too, which was helpful for me, especially when I'm not in can't even talk in X-ray mode, is that pressing A selects the entire object.
Yep.
That's like incredibly helpful to me, and I should have been using it now. Just because when you have a more complex object and you want to scale like the whole thing in edit mode, being able to hit A and make sure you get every single face is huge. Which in Maya it's a double click, but what you gonna do? So honestly, I actually got the base of this character looking pretty good, and ended up closing down without saving today, but that's fine. I'll just redo it again. But that's about all I have, Mike. So it's baby steps for the Checkpoint Professor, but that's kind of how I'm gonna start branding my streams. Is I'm gonna consider my streams when I'm working on the game, or even in Blender. It's kind of an ask me anything situation. Backseat development is encouraged. Come teach Checkpoint Professor how to use Blender, and I'm excited. So
that's awesome.
So Mike,
I love that thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So Mike, you have some awesome stuff to show us because you are hardcore. I don't think you're even a Blender noob anymore. Mike is a Blender.
I don't know.
Mike is now a Blender pro, but that's fine. There only needs to be one noob on the podcast for it to be the Blender noobs, right?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we're all about the journey here, so I guess we're always noobs. If we ever think that you've mastered it, then you have yet to.
That's true.
There is more to learn.
Oh, actually, someone showed me something really good. I'm going to share it with you guys. 1 second. Before we get to you, we're going to share something.
Sure.
It's this. I can't remember the name of it. That's why I need to open something up. Let's see. Just since we mentioned the more you know. And I cannot find it now. My computer is having a heart attack. Here we go. We're gonna do it. I think what I'll do is give this PC a good defrag, a nice cleanup, maybe run Adaware a few times. I don't know what's going on with it, but it's having fun. Okay, before we get started with you, Mike, and after I show this, I'm gonna try and switch monitors so I can make sure I have you showing up.
Okay.
And so it may cause things to blink for just a second, but we shouldn't lose it. Okay. And Gary can just edit this dull space out because he's awesome like that.
Dual space editing.
Dull. Okay, here we go. It's coming. It's coming. Maybe not. Dag nabbit. Okay. Pwaz is still excited about this. Okay, here we go. Yeah, have you heard of the Dunning-Kruger effect?
Of course.
Yeah, so I'm going to share that because this is where I am with life right now. We can see that. I love this. See if it'll pop up on there we go. Yeah, so it's Dunning and Kruger effect. So this is what I see with students all the time, right? Is they'll come in never having made a game or done stuff before, and it's like, I know everything. And then they start learning, and then like, oh wait, this is more complicated than I thought. And then at the bottom of it, oh, this is starting to make sense. And then as they learn even more, it's like, oh crap, this is complicated. But you never gain that confidence level, right? So I don't know. There's something to be said about that confidence level, though. I think that's why game companies love interns.
Because they're just going to attack it with all that they are.
Yeah, because they haven't been kind of crushed by experience, right? So it's like, yeah, this intern thinks they can do this. Great, let's give it a shot. And the thing is, like, maybe even 10% of the time they'll be able to pull off what they want to do. But the seasoned professional wouldn't attempt it because they know they've kind of learned the statistics, right?
Yeah, so it's a really interesting effect. Like the moral of the story is just know that you don't know anything and just keep on learning.
Oh, this is awesome. Alinsa Vic says, novice programmers think threading is hard. Intermediate programmers think threading is easy. And expert programmers think threading is hard.
What is threading in terms of programming?
Is threading like getting multiple processors to tackle the same thing? I don't know. I'm not an engineer. What is threading? But I think the metaphor is pretty spot on for everything.
Yeah. I mean, because I know what multi-threading is, but like you were saying with like CPUs and stuff, I'm not sure how that relates to actual programming. But before we go into my project, I actually want to do a couple of quick tips for you, Gabe, as well as potentially for the channel. So
yes, yeah. Let's hear it. Is this before you show your screen, or is this?
No. This is. I just don't want to show the first thing will be the tips, and then the second thing will be how I use those for the project.
Okay, so I'm gonna switch so you can show your screen if that's cool. Cool.
Yeah,
in the
just
game.
let me know when.
Okay, so you're gonna see I think OBS kind of pop up for a minute here. Okay. Okay, so you should. So it kind of. Okay. So it just kind of locked that screen on. Yes. Did you go into? Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So this was pretty seamless then. So I'm gonna go into yours and go to full screen.
Hey, no worries. No worries, Vix. So I work with lots of programmers, and it's always fun to pick their brains about how things work. But yeah, we definitely appreciate you telling us what that means.
Oh yeah, perfect. So yeah, threading is basically having multiple parts of something running in parallel with each other. Seems easy at first, but you run into all sorts of fun problems with different threading needs to share the same data and not colliding trying to access it. That is why engineers make the big bucks, honestly. So I'm gonna. Yeah. So this is almost done. I used to. This was not as bad as I thought it would be. Basically, I'm unplugging a screen capture. So let me reset the transforms on this so you fit properly. Then I can get your screen fitting right on screen, and then I can hide my ugly mug because it's only you talking now. And Mike, I hope you don't mind. I read all the comments from chat only because when this goes to YouTube, it'll make more sense.
Yeah, no worries. You ready for me to talk about some stuff?
Heck yeah, we are.
Okay, so this for other tools, this is really easy, but there is a few things in basic modeling that are really, really good and quick to get things linear, to do some merging, to do some snapping. Like that's huge in modeling. And so, like what I found really during my current project, I did a lot of these quite often. So I kind of wanted to show them to you. So one is, Gabe. So let's say that we wanted to straighten this edge.
Okay, hold on.
Right?
I actually lost you. Hold on. You there we go. Sorry, I moved some stuff around. That's so we have your screen back on. Here we go. I apologize. Okay, we can see you now. Great.
Yeah. So one of the things, Gabe, that I know that we do a lot is maybe we need to straighten an edge so that we can move it, right? So a real quick way to straighten an edge, typically you get some vertices and then you'd scale them into each other, which is not always easy. But a quick way to do that in Blender that I found is to get the edge that you want to straighten. What I typically do is do a Shift S and then do cursor to selected, which brings the 3D cursor to your selection.
Okay.
So the reason why you do that is because you want to scale to the median point of your selection, right? So so that it's becomes straight. So one of the really cool things about Blender, Gabe, is that that it's so hotkey heavy, right? So we have S for scale, right?
Right.
So what we want to do is scale in the X direct, in the Y direction, right? But do you see how it doesn't? So in Maya, once you get near 0, it stops going, but it's not doing that in Blender.
Right.
But what we can do to do it real quick is do the hotkey is scale, which is S, then the direction, which is Y, then on your numpad hit 0, and then enter.
So that moved all of them though. So it's no longer centered, right?
Yeah. So, well, that's because I wanted to. Yeah. Okay. So here's a double move then. So I'm gonna go do this one to this one, right? So let's get these straightened. Okay.
Yeah.
Scale Y0. Okay, so those are straight.
Right.
So now, what's an easy way for me to then snap this line?
Right. Because in Maya, you would just hold down V and pull it over, and you're done.
Right. So in Blender, this is actually one of the things I like about Blender because it just, for my brain, it works in a very linear fashion sometimes. So this button right here is snapping, right? So we have snap, and then we can do vertex actually. So let's turn on snapping, and right now it's on increment, but you can do vertex. So what I do is we'll get those vertexes. I'll do Shift Tab, which is the shortcut for snapping. Okay. Then I'll do G, right, which gets us.
The grab tool.
Actually, let me get to vertex. Okay. G, right, which is what? Okay, well, this isn't helping us, right? But if we hit Y, right, that will keep us along the axis. And then if we just hover over the vertex that we want to actually align it with,
Nice.
that will snap it.
Okay. So that's starting to make sense. And that's something I'll have to do a few times till it sinks in.
Yeah. But I did a ton of that, and it just, like, it really helped, especially if you want to align it. So like I'll go to so what I do a lot is I'll snap to a view, right? So Gabe, to snap to a view, you can hold Alt and middle mouse drag,
Right.
and that will snap to a view. So one of the things I was going to tell you is, let's say that you wanted a front view or a back view with your image plane. You could snap to a plane first and then drag your image in, and then that will be flat.
Yeah, that would be helpful, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other thing, which is really cool for snapping and for merging vertices, this saves a lot of time. So I'm going to hit N, and I'm going to go to Tool. I'm going to go to, nope, not Workspace, Option. Okay. So again, I'm going to hit N. I'm going to go to Tool. I'm going to go to Options. I'm going to go to Auto Merge. Okay. This will automatically merge vertices that get close together. So they'll snap and then they'll merge. So one really quick way to like start to snap vertices together while also merging, what I've done, like, so like if I want to snap this vert to here really quickly, I can just hover over so what I'll do is I'll go to the vert that I want to snap, then I'll hover over the vert I want to snap it to and just hit G.
Nice. So you're just hitting G when you hover over that vertice?
Yeah.
So it's auto snaps.
Yep.
Okay.
And then I just hit left click to make it so.
Did that merge the two vertices?
Yes, it did. So like,
so
if
just left click. Do you have to have both selected, or you just left click and it'll just do it?
So that will just do it.
Oh wow.
So that was really fast.
Yeah, that is fast.
So the other way to do it, Gabe, that you would want to do is turn off snapping, let's say, because let's say that you wanted to be a little bit more precise with it, because maybe you wanted to make a curved edge like between here, like in here. So let's say, okay, well, like I want this to be here. So GG, right? That will move a vert like along the edge.
Mm-hmm.
Then GG, move all the way over to the vert that you want. See how it's kind of snapping?
Yeah.
And then left click, and then now it's merged.
Nice. Okay. So you said GG. So GG is what allows you to move along a plane, or is it?
Right. So like that will move along an edge.
Okay.
So
along an edge. Okay.
Yeah. So like GG.
GG. Good job.
GG.
Good game.
Good game. So I use that a whole lot when I was doing work for my current project.
Love it.
The other thing I use a ton of, it's a vanilla Blender add-on, and that's the sometimes I forget like where to find things, but let's do we'll just do this, and then I'll do inset, okay, and then I'll do hunt view item, edit, okay, there it is, loop tools. So like I've definitely shown you this before, but loop tools is awesome. So this is a Blender add-on that you just have to go to add-ons and you just go ahead and turn it on. So that like if I wanted to, one thing I've done is, like, let's say I wanted to put a circle in here, but I didn't want to have to add a bunch of edges to do that. I want a very nice circle, but because this is a flat plane, I don't really, the the topology will be fine. So what you can do is you can go to the vertex. So the hotkey for beveling, or for to do a bevel, is Control B for the but that is for an edge, right? So there's your bevel. Okay. To do the same thing for a vertex, it's Control Shift B. Okay, so now you're doing you're chamfering slash beveling the vertex. But now if I scroll up in my scroll wheel, I'm getting more geometry. See that?
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's awesome. That's, I
Okay,
mean,
so that's
it's
cool.
awesome. I don't know what I'd do with it, but that is awesome.
This is what you do with it, is you do that.
Oh, nice, dude.
So now what I can do, Gabe, is I can right click, no, sorry, Shift S, cursor to selected, scale Shift Z, so that I can only go along the Z plane
Uh-huh.
to get it bigger.
And then delete the center.
Then what I would do is hit 3, delete my faces.
Right. And you have
I
this
get a nice
perfect
hole in
circle.
there. But then let's say like yes, I have a perfect circle, but like I want good geometry. Okay, well then you hit 2, go to get your edge loops, spacebar search, grid fill, and then do like an offset. There we go. There it is. Nice. Then maybe hit 3, do an inset. Oh, looks like I can't do that much of an inset. Then I would do E, Z. Actually, this is something that I'll do like a lot, because sometimes I'll go too fast and things won't snap the way I want to. So like for now, what I want to do is I want to extrude down.
Right.
So what I'll do is I'll hit Z, and that will, well, it's already snapping, but then I'll hit Z. Oh, so that was like, so see that Z, that's that's not good, but no worries, just hit Z again, and that will get you there. Sweet. So now what I'll do is I'll hit 2. Let's get that. Control B. Get a nice bevel. Hit Shift. See, this is where, and then let's go to Shade Smooth. We'll go to Normals, Auto Smooth. Oh, nice. See, look at that.
That is pretty cool.
I have a nice hole. I didn't have to, the shading's perfect. Like, right. There's no weird shading around here. So that worked out pretty good. So I've done a lot of, plus because of how I did it, I could do, I can get some edge loops if I needed some more edge
Yeah.
loops. No, like for no apparent reason, but maybe I need to like add some geometry or something.
Well, I can see, especially if you're trying to do a high poly model quickly and something you want to bake that normal map from that is super quick, right?
Yeah. So, I did a lot of that. So those are the tips that I can share with you of like what I've been doing, a ton of while doing this hard surface project. This one right here.
Oh, dude, that looks sick.
Thank you. So, I'm not done with it. There's still more things to do, but this was pretty methodically, like one of the things I was able to do is like I have this, what they call them empties, where I just parented, these main objects to this empty so that I can
to an empty. So essentially, is that like a group node?
No,
Okay.
it is. Yep.
Or a transform node, right?
Shift A, like empty, and they have planes, arrows, all sorts of stuff. So it's like like if
Interesting.
you're rigging, and yeah.
Yeah.
So I made this empty, and then the other thing I actually did to this empty is I actually added a constraint to it.
Right. Because technically, like if you were making this for an animation, you could just animate the empty, right? So you never touch the geometry. It's its own standalone node. It's the poor man's the poor man's skeleton system. And I'm not gonna lie, in video games at Disney, I used just blank transform nodes to do simple animations for environments and everything all the time. Like they're so handy.
Yeah, this was awesome. So what I did was, so I parented this top. So I put this empty, right like in the center, because this is where it would be rotating.
Mm-hmm.
And I parented these items to this empty. Then I like added a constraint to limit the rotation, like of the to limit the rotation of the Y, so that it can't go past negative 181 degrees.
And then you
So
lock X and Y, right? Or X and Z.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So actually, like if you can look here, you can also lock them in the. So I locked the scale, I locked the location, and then the X and Y, so that I can't. Well, I guess I can, but I will lock it within the constraint. So now this can't go past. See it like it will snap back. So what I do is when I wanted to see like, okay, well, how does this thing look closed? I'll do I'll do negative 179.9, and then it looks, just to make sure it looks nice closed.
Yeah.
One quick tip gave for you too. So like if you want to zero out something, you just guys hit backspace.
Nice.
So like if you do a hover over and hit backspace, it will zero out.
Zero it out.
Yeah. So now.
Will hitting zero also zero it out?
Yes.
Okay, good. Just making sure.
So I've gone through and I've done a lot of what I just showed you.
Okay, now show me the batteries. I want to see the springs.
Oh, well, so this is actually as far as it's going to
I'm just razzing you.
But I mean, there's going to be some bolts here that I made. So like some bolts in here. That's the battery plate. I'm going to build the game cartridge. So today I built like the on-off switch, but I'm going to actually have like the on and off.
Nice. Do you have one of these that you have a physical version that you're looking at, or is it all from images off the net?
Just all from images off the net.
Okay.
I built the back here. So, this was done with I did this with Booleans. There's a combination of like actual sub-D modeling, and then what I would call the Ngon workflow, which is what I talked about last week. And that's just like using Booleans or using bevels and just making sure that the main point is just making sure that the shading's good.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, like I could go through here and bake, like I could retopologize this and bake it out. But I don't need to because the final piece is going to be just a rendering.
Yeah.
Not a single rendering, but like it's going to be native to the program, so it should be fine.
Right. Do you plan on doing any like opening animation then, since you added that empty node?
Yes.
So that would be if you did like a little animation of it, like opening and closing in wireframe, opening and closing in grayscale, kind of like a evolution of the Blender process. That would be sick for a short too. Done.
That would be sweet.
Little 30-second little highlight of this project.
Well, like I'm also going to be adding like an actual game cartridge like coming in.
Yeah.
There's going to be more to this. I'm going to be doing some texture work, some unwrapping, like all that stuff. So there's still a few things I need to still model. There's a couple of like the lights when it's on and when it's low on battery. gonna look and see if I can't do the. It has like a break right here. We'll see how that looks. The game cartridge, and then the bolts. Those are like the final, and then I actually have to do. There's so here are like the pads, but there's some like inverted pads here too that I'm going to be putting in.
Well, I am stupid impressed.
A lot of fun. Oops. See that?
Oh, it broke, Mike. It broke.
Oh, I had to do the empty. But see, yeah, I think it's looking pretty accurate. It looks pretty good. And that was the whole point, was to do a nice, smooth, but also clean, quote unquote, clean and detailed product, duplication of the Game Boy Advance SP.
I love it. I love it.
It looks pretty cool.
So your plan this week is to probably work on the cartridge. Or do you think you'll get to the unwrapping section of it yet, or?
My goal between now and our next Blender Noob show is to completely finish the modeling.
Awesome. So as far as our next Noob show, is that probably 2 weeks from now?
That is what is most likely to happen.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So like I said, I'm going AFK. I don't know why I say key because of keyboard for the next 3 or 4 days, which means I am not going to be. I'm going to try and not do anything on the computer for the next few days. I'm kind of burnt out, but that would give me a chance to make sure that the next Noob show is a good one. I think I have some more ideas I'll share with you after the show to streamline things, but this has been really good.
Yeah, well, it's been a ton of fun, and I think we got through a lot tonight. It's been fantastic.
We did. I think we did get through a lot, and hopefully it's entertaining. We had a few. Thanks, Alinsa and Poz, for stopping by. We had a few lurkers too. So this is very fascinating. For those of you who are watching, this is really for Mike and I, for our benefit, because it's teaching us something new, and having this format to share what we've learned. I think for me, it helps keeps us motivated and excited for what we're doing. And if it helps other people with their journey, then that is just icing on the cake.
100%. And, we are lifelong learners, and this is just some like what Gabe said, this is just things that are fun for us. But like if anyone else wants to stop by, discuss what they've been working on, what they've been learning, just to add to the discussion, that's always welcome.
Yep. So go watch on YouTube. We actually have 3 episodes uploaded. They're just waiting to be posted. I think they just need a thumbnail and a description, and these ones will be coming up soon thereafter. So we've got a lot of content coming out on the Blender3D Noobs YouTube channel, as well with these upcoming shorts. It would be even cool, Mike, if you even did a short little video kind of talking about this. I think we have an opportunity to really promote this, and this is awesome. So really, once again, Mike, you are not a Blender noob, you're a Blender pro. I'm saying it right now, but I'm excited to learn from you and what you're doing. So this is fun.
Yeah, it's been a ton of fun, and I'll definitely maybe I'll record a couple of small videos and send them your way. Yeah,
that'd be awesome. Okay, everybody, thanks for watching. Mike, if you want to stick around, we can chat real quick. Sure. But we're gonna end it now. I'm just gonna check and see. I want to see how many people are in the chat. If we have more than 5, which we only have 4, I was gonna say we would move on a raid. It's always polite to raid another stream, especially looking for other Blender artists. And so, next go around, if we have more than 5 viewers, we'll make sure to raid another 3D artist to share the love. But since we don't this time, we're just going to end it here. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and we will see you next time. Pwaz, you take it easy. I can't wait to play your levels next week.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much, everyone.
All right. And